Welcome, welcome, welcome to Women in Business International Radio. I'm your host today, Taylor K on the mic, and I have some special guests some special guests virtual that I will introduce to you shortly. First, I'm sure you're saying, well, what is Women in Business International? Women in Business International serves a sisterhood of women entrepreneurs who understand that individually you can do great things, but collectively we can forever change the world. Members of our movement experience a support system that allows us to celebrate their wins and share their struggles, and a series of opportunities that enhance them personally and professionally. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, you can visit our website at www.wbiradio.org. So today we have in our virtual studio, none other than Miss Christina Page and Pam Curtis. Let's give them a round of applause. Yeah. I'm so excited to have these phenomenal ladies in the building today. I'm excited for more than one reason. One, because they are powerhouses all in their own rights. And two, because they are my sisters. And I love them so much. So, without further ado, I'm just going to ask Pam, but you only get 1 minute. You got to give her limitations, y'all.
Look at it, starting off.
Pam, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, kings and queens. My name is Pam Curtis. I am the founder and president of Pushing a Vision Outreach, and I'm also the president of Park Circle Community Association here in Park Heights. And I'm also the community outreach coordinator for Park Heights Renaissance. And I am an activist. I am an advocate for men, women, children, youth, whomever. And I'm just ready to rock out with my sisters and to have that raw and transparency, organic type of conversation that's needed for us all, and even the beautiful ladies that's watching. Thank you.
Very good, Pam. Good job.
Patty, you Patty, you Patty.
Next, last but certainly not least, none other than Miss Christina Page. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good evening. I don't even know how I even follow that. I know that Pam has like 7 titles that she made.
You mean 100? Just cut it down for the show.
Right. But I'm really excited to be here because I love the work that Nicole does. I love the work that Pam does in the community, and I'm happy to call both of them my friends. So as far as what I do, so in the daytime, I work for the House of Ruth Maryland. I'm the Associate Director of Stability Services. So I oversee the emergency shelter and the rapid rehousing programs and their service coordination program there. I've been with them for about 8 years. I've been in the human services field for about 18 years now. It makes me feel really old to say that. But beyond that, I'm also involved also with the Food Project in Southwest Baltimore. And the title that I love the most is I'm a mother of 3 amazing children. I'm born and raised in Baltimore, and anybody that knows me knows that my heart is always with providing resources and trying to help. The bulk of the work that I do is with women and children in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you for that. So, ladies, so we're here because today I wanted to, with Mother's Day just passing on Monday, I wanted us to kind of take some time and just talk to some mothers and talk about how we have to wear our cape, take our cape off, and everything. I know, right? So, with that being said, And like I said, these ladies are some powerhouses. They're always in their communities, always very active. That's actually where I met both of them. And because of it, I just felt like number one, they should be highlighted for all of the work that they're doing in the communities, and number two, just talk about time management and how they're able to juggle so many balls. And and so
Yeah, yeah. So Nicole, I'll dive in before the conversation goes left with Pam.
Oh my God!
No, but
you can have them. You can have them.
So I would say one thing that I learned is when you wear so many hats, it's really hard. And for the longest time, I tried to really, juggle everything. And you try to keep everything. You try to be a mom. You try to keep your home nice and clean, and keep up rating. And if you're a partner or if you're married, you're trying to do that. Trying to be a friend, a sister, a daughter, and it's like so many hats. And one of the things that I realized is that there's really no way you can kind of keep all those balls juggled up in the air. Like you just can't. So I've just tried to give myself kind of the time, the space, the grace to be able to say, right now, this is what my priority is. This is what I got to do. And as long as I'm continuing to improve and continuing to get better in all those areas, then I give myself that space to say, okay, that means that, this thing over here is going to take like a back burner, and I can't do it all. I can't compare myself to this other person who appears to be doing all of these things. And as long as I'm giving my all, then I'm happy with that.
I know that's right. And it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've learned is it's okay to say no, because I know for me for a long time, it was so hard because I wanted to just do and be there for everybody. And so much so that a friend of mine called me Save the World. She'd be like, oh gosh, here comes Save the World.
Yeah.
But understanding that I had to be there for myself first in order to be able to be there for others. And with that being said, I had to learn how to say no. I still have trouble sometimes, but for the most part, I did have to learn that lesson. How about you, Pamela?
I just always remember my mother. I swear to you, and my friends would make jokes about us, and then cousins would too, because my mother, it seemed like she was raising us to work for the CIA, to go undercover or something, just the way that she would train us. I swear to you, just the way that she would train us. And one thing I would say she programmed, she raised us, she trained us for us to know who we are before we get into a relationship, before we get into motherhood. Because if you don't know who you are, and then you will actually conform to your children and their sports, their emotions, their grades, your spouse. The next thing you know, you are in their shadow. But you had purpose before any one of those people were added to you. So as for me, I always had to remain conscious of balance. Balance. For me being a community association president, that comes with its own issues. Dealing with all city agencies, DPW, DOT, code enforcement, all that. But then knowing my home come first, knowing my house, my home, my children, myself, we come first. So everything else, I don't care what's going on. I would leave from a meeting if my son say, "Mommy, I don't feel good," or even if my own body says, "Okay, you know what? You can't stay until 9 tonight."
Yeah.
Give out your card, get something to drink, and leave. Just that balance that often we tend to forget to have, because we are just learning to put us on our own list as well. Even in your 30s, your 40s, there's women that's just beginning to fall in love with themselves on a whole nother level as mothers.
So one of our comments from Miss Barbara Moore, my guest for next week, says it's hard for mothers to obtain balance, but it's so necessary. We cannot help others if we do not take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And then, just for
She's right.
the shame that's attached to us saying no, we feel guilty. We feel a lot of shame because we can't do it all. And because we're just conditioned to want to do it all for all of the things that we find important. But we have to put ourselves on that list as well. And
right.
we don't take care of ourselves, then we find ourselves just burnt out and we're just exhausted.
Right. And then we're no good to anyone, not our loved ones, not ourselves, and definitely not the people that we advocate for on our day.
Right.
So Pam, you mentioned your mom. Tell us, what is your favorite quote that your mom said back when you were younger?
Oh. Oh my gosh. My mother, listen, my mother has so many quotes that even someone brought this to my attention. They said, do you not know that you bring up your parents' teaching, even in conversations? It could be about anything. And like, that sounds some old school. Who taught you that? Like my parents, but like people, they just hear a little of my story and say, how does she have all of these great teaching from her parents, but she aged out of foster care? But one thing for sure and two things for certain, before the storm even hit, my mother laid the quality of the brick in that copper, in that pipe, of the firm foundation. So I must say, one of my favorite quotes, besides her calling me my whole name as I was up the street being bad,
Well, did you hear your whole name often, Pam?
A little bit. but no, but so I'll say this. The quote, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything.
That's a good one.
And my mother lived by that. Lived by that. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. But then she will also say this at the end, like a karma. And she will always say this. So she will always say, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Then she'll say, and she'll turn to you and say, but make sure you know how to stand before anyone is entered into your life. She always said that. Know who you are before you have children. Know who you are before you get married. Before you start dating. Know who you are before you go behind closed doors to have those meetings. Know who you are before you enter into any room. So, yeah, she has some cool ones. I like them. I can dig them.
And how about you, Christina?
I would say for my mom, and as silly as this sounds, she used to always say, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black?
Right.
So my mom is a giver. I'm a giver. And I will give, up till about a couple of years ago, I would give at the expense of myself.
Yes.
And I think that I finally learned that, you just can't do that. You're not doing anyone any favors. And then also, as my kids got older, I was like, I don't want to model that to my kids. Like, I want them I want them to know that it's okay to take time to take care of yourself. It's okay to it's okay to not be okay. And so I think that I was so just, I just get up every single day. I mean, I worked since
Mhm.
I was 14 years old, and I've just always just hard worker and done all of that. And I just never showed the world or really anyone that I wasn't okay.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I really, that kind of stuck with me. And I was like, well, I can't preach kind of to the clients. I can't, say to the community that, oh, you need to take care of yourself. And I would hear myself saying the things. And then it just hit me a couple years ago. I was like, why do I give such great advice and I don't take any of it for myself?
Girl,
How about that? How about
wait a
that?
minute now. That's something to drink on.
Tiffany Jones says, when you give so much, sometimes people take advantage of that. That is so true. That is so true. I know,
Yes, Tiffany. Yes.
I know for myself, there's so many different quotes that I could say, but my mom was a giver too. And, she really instilled that in my brother and I. She instilled like community, and, we used to be young out at the polls, helping passing out literature for William Donald Schaefer when he was mayor.
Yeah.
So that's how
Mhm.
long ago that was. um, but one of the things she always told us was, she didn't want us to work while we were in high school. She said, you have the rest of your life to work. And so growing up, of course, when
That's
I,
real.
right. So when I had
All
children,
your life.
I felt the same way. One of the things I remember, my brother wanted to get a job while he was in college. I wanted a job when I was in high school. Our friends was doing it.
Mhm.
But she said, you had the rest of your life to work. She said, I'm going to take care of you. It's nothing that we asked for that we weren't able to get. We were blessed. So, she made sure that we had what we needed. So she didn't want us to work during those times. She wanted us to focus on school, even though during high school, I don't know for me, but it was a
Yeah.
little
Well,
iffy.
it definitely paid off because I will say you and your brother are definitely givers.
Oh, thank you.
That's real.
I remember times where, like, our lights would be cut off sometimes because she gave so much. I remember a Christmas, like we didn't have as much for Christmas because she brought for this whole entire family. She wanted to bless them for
Aw.
Christmas because we
Yeah.
did the Secret Santa, and we would go shopping with her and everything. And I guess she thought she was going to be able to have a little bit more for us, and she wasn't, and she felt so bad. And I'm like, look, ma, we're okay. And in her heart of hearts, she knew that she always gave us what we needed. It wasn't it we
Right.
never needed anything. But she that was just the heart that she had, always blessing someone else. So
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's kind
That's
of like
beautiful.
Nicole having was it a broke ankle? And,
oh
and
my
yeah, and she came hobbling into the food project to do classes. And I,
I had the torn meniscus and I had surgery, so it was like in a stabilized.
Girl.
My sister was like, "What are you doing here?" Look, the show must go on, right?
Right.
yeah.
In real life.
How about that? So we have a lot of viewers checking us out. I see Destiny Bright and Barbara Moore, Nicole. Hey Nicole. So if you guys have any questions, Nico, just like you. Oh, thank you, Nico. If you have any questions for our guests or for myself, please don't hesitate to put it in the chat. We would love to chat with you. This is not just a discussion of three, but a discussion of many. Because we all wear these hats, we all know that it takes a lot for us to juggle the different things that we do. Time management is so important. So if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to type them in our chat. So we talked about your favorite quote. What is your best memory with your children? Your favorite memory with your children thus far?
Mm.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Right, there's so many, right?
I will
Mm.
say, I think, I mean, because so I have three children, and each of my three children, you know, they all argue with me about that I love each of them the most. And I tell them all, like, I love each of you different. It's the same, but it's very different because they are so different. And I think most recently, the one thing that stands out is I went to Denver with my middle daughter, who's 15, and she plays national volleyball. So she made a national team this year. So she was really proud of herself.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we traveled out to Denver together and we had this just amazing trip of just her and I. And when we got there, it was right in the beginning of COVID when everything was canceled. And so as soon as we got there, it was, you know, she was like, well, we just got here, the tournament got canceled. And so we had these 3 days to figure out. And I was like, well, we'll rent a car and we'll go see everything that's within drivable distance. And that's what we did. Every single day we picked like 2 or 3 things. And it was just this like beautiful trip of spending, and she's, you know, becoming a young woman and everything. And she's so wonderful. And to be able to spend that time and everything, it was just so beautiful.
Oh, how about you, Pam?
So as for me, I think my favorite memory must be when I first took my sons to Mall of America. and and that was their first time getting on a plane, you know, experiencing that. And my youngest son, Malachi, come to me and said, Mommy, I just want to say thank you and that we so proud of you. And you know that broke a sister down. Because again, mothers, and you know, and I think we all have the story. We give to our children even when we don't have to give. We get so caught up in just even hurting and pain. I'm sorry, I think my pictures pop. Do apologize. Sometimes we get so caught up with our own personal hurt, work, frustration, you know, if you're dating someone, I don't care what it is. But no matter what, my sons have ministered to me by just coming in and into my room and giving me a hug. So to say that they were proud of me, that did something to me that money can't purchase. You know, a flight to any state or to any country could even, you know, it just can't replace. But for them to say, you know, they're proud of me, and then they have seen our lights cut off. They have seen me say, oh my goodness, I paid that bill. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't pay the bill because y'all needed this. And if that came before the bill.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, but just to know that they see the strength that I am as a woman and also as a mother. And that's why I always tell them, a strong woman that may be a mother before you or then after you, you would never be intimidated by her because y'all lived with one. All of my good girlfriends like y'all are strong mothers, gorgeous mothers, and have put other people in front of y'all. So it's not like I am foreign to them or that they only know I guess a mother like their mother, because I have good girlfriends that love on their children, that support their children, and that's what my sons need to see. And that even doing all of that, I still make time to have them explore with me together, because I've never been to Mall of America. So like it just was, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It's so many times that it's hard for me to limit
Right.
but I will say I guess individually it would be when my my daughters and I, the three of us, we individually. So they all went to graduated from Leaf Walk Elementary School, and Leaf Walk had a fifth grade trip to New York. And so it was like a 4 day, 5 day, 4 night, something long, a long trip. And when I tell you they had an action packed day every day, from everything from us going to Apollo to Sylvia's restaurant to Wall Street, to
That's awesome.
what's the Radio City. It was
Yeah.
amazing. We got to tour
Mhm.
City. It was an amazing. So I got to do that with each of my daughters, just me and them, and it was amazing. And we roommate. We always had a roommate with one of their friends and their moms, and it was an amazing experience. And it was like a bonding opportunity as well. So I would say that I'm just so proud of my girls. I have so many. They just accomplished so much that it's just so many memories. But for my oldest daughter, when she went off to college, I remember her going off to college, and just the person that she is. I hear her when she's mentoring to the young ladies in our mentoring program, and I just have to turn and look and be like, oh my goodness, like, you hear your words coming out of their mouths, and, it just gives you like a sense of joy. Um, and then my middle daughter, she is a very successful business owner, and she just, for her birthday, she said, Ma, I'm gonna buy myself a car. And I said, okay. And so she bought her first car. She's about to graduate on
Oh.
Friday from University of
Mm-mm.
Good for her.
and I was upset. I'm like, she's not gonna get to walk across the stage. She said, "Mine's okay as long as I get my degree." And I was
I
like,
know that's right.
she
Right.
had to remind me because I was on
Right.
a rampage. Like, this is not going to happen, but they are going to do it.
Right. Right.
I'm like, I
Yes.
can't
Give me
walk
my
across the
paperwork.
yes. And for my youngest daughter, I would say she has always been herself. She doesn't care what anybody else is doing. She doesn't care if they've been her friends for forever. If she don't want to do it, she not doing it. Like, she is
I
definitely,
like that.
she definitely is her own person. So like each of my children, I just see something different in them, that I just love. And when I see those things, it gives me that opportunity to pat myself on the back, pat my husband on the back, and say, we did a good job. So
Yeah.
oh, well, I know that both of you ladies are single moms. How do you think that it's harder being a single mom? Do you what is your experience as a single mom, raising multiple children?
Oh my God. Who should go first?
Right. Yes. Yeah, Pam.
Um, Raising Black sons. Sometimes that can sum up any conversation. Just raising Black sons in Baltimore City. Sometimes it can be rough because for the simple fact is that you want to be at everything that they have, meetings, sport, or they just want your time just with you and him. So it can definitely be trying, especially if everything is on you, even down to the financial. That is tough. And then if your kids are eating you out of house and home,
Especially like right now, right?
Sons. Yes.
what? I'm I'm like, God, can someone just give me food stamps? Please. Can someone just be selling their food stamps to me? But but jokes aside, that's not a joke. But no, but
I'm accepting at
Right.
Yes. Cash App, Pam Curtis 83. Pam Curtis 83. I receive it, Lord. No, but
GoFundMe will follow the conversation.
Oh no, no GoFundMe's. No, but honestly, again, it can be tough when everything is on you. When everything is on you, and when the bills are on you, them pulling everything on you as if there's not another parent. Sometimes I actually make my sons pause. Wait a minute now. Y'all live with me. And all this is paid for. Things that y'all need. Look, I'll be like, look, you can turn on the light, right? The lights are on, and they have not been off in some years. Because I would say, look, yeah, why the remote too, like on the TV? I'm like, see this? Look at this. That's Wi-Fi. I pay that. Yeah. Look at this cable. I pay that. That remote. I pay that. That couch. I pay that. Can you please ask your father for $20? Please. So to find balance, I first had to be hard on myself because I don't ever want my sons to be disappointed. So if I know that they're going to be disappointed, often I would just go ahead and do it myself. And that's pushing me to the back burner of things that I need to get it done and also accomplished for me as well. So being a single mother, it's moments, and sometimes they are often, but just remembering when your sons or your daughters grow up and then they tell their story about their mother, how she was tired, how she cried, and when mommy didn't know that we heard her crying, but she was crying. When your children grow up to say, you know what, I know I can accomplish this, and I did not know that I was going to face this, but the strength that I seen in my mother, my God, my mother that never gave up, even when she looked like she was about to give up. That mother that actually introduced you to a prayer life, even if it was to say your grace. She introduced you to how to cover the food that you're about to intake. That's love. Yeah. But then a mother that sacrificed even having a brand new shirt or even food in your home just so that she can help out another family that's worse off than you. And then you looking at your mother like, we don't have.
Right.
We need somebody to come save us. And guess what? And then for her faithfulness in God, her firmness to show her daughters, to show her sons, this is how a woman supposed to act. This is how a parent is supposed to act. Supposed to love with no conditions. So trust and believe for all of us, and then even for the mothers that's watching, your children will raise one day and say, for my mother's love, for my mother's consistency, for her hurt, for her pain, for our struggle, I am the parent who I am today. I'm telling you, mothers are the sugar, honey, iced tea. And I drink to that.
I drink with you if I had my glass right here. Now, Christina, do you feel like you should have went first?
No, I mean, I second everything that Pam says, everything. And I think it's so important because, as a single mom, and I've raised my kids, my oldest she's about to be 19, and I've raised alone since the time they were only a couple years old. And, my kids have absolutely they've seen me struggle. They have absolutely walked in and seen the lights off, and I've made up a lie, and I've later in years had to explain, that's really what happened when I was like, oh yeah, the whole apartment building's out, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I don't want them to have to experience what I was dealing with. I will say, I didn't know how I would feel at this point in my life. All of my kids are teenagers, but I can absolutely sit back and I know my kids love and respect me like more than anyone in this world. And especially my son. I look at my son is my youngest and he's 13, and it's tough. It's tough raising a boy as a woman. It's tough, you want to raise your boy to respect women, especially, with everything that's going on in the world today. And I am so transparent and I talk to my kids about everything. I mean, and my son is quick to say, I already heard all that. My mom says everything. And I do. I talk about every topic that you can think of with my children because I want to be the one that shapes you and gets you prepared, to be a man in this world, to be a woman in this world. And, we're in such a powerful position as a mom. And that's what, the women that I work with and the women that I'm friends with and everything, whether there's a man around or not, yes. Are they going to look to certain men for certain things? Yeah. So it's your job, whether you're in a relationship or not,
right.
Positive role models. So, and I'll tell them, this person, maybe your uncle, your cousin, or this person, I look to them for this, but this I don't look to them for, real quick, like, and I love my family, but, I'm real quick to say, this is not okay. But this is, and so as a single mom, you have to do that because as a boy, I can't do everything as much as I want everything. Right. So I have to be quick to check the male people that are in I wouldn't say in my circle, but in my family that I can't control. And so that person, no, we're not doing that. That's not acceptable to me. And so, and even the community, like this person on TV that you look up to, that's not okay. Like, not wear a jersey of someone who has committed domestic violence. That's not happening. You better throw it away or something, because that's something that I'm completely against. And so, whether or not you have that male role model, you just also have to check, what media brings to our kids, because as, just in this day and age, people are just looking to like, oh, this is great. That is great. No, that's not acceptable.
Right.
Yeah. But, I'll say, just watching my mom being a single mom, I knew it was hard, and it was so many days, like Pam was saying, how I never saw her cry really, but that didn't mean that she didn't have those days. She just wanted to show us that she was so strong, and it was just amazing, to see and to think back and to know now, the struggles we went through and how she never let us in on, like, so, back in the day, parents didn't tell you what was going on. So we kind of share with our children a little bit more of like what's going on to a certain extent. But back in the day, everything, they even told us, pictures are to be seen and not heard. Do y'all remember that?
Yes.
Right.
So you couldn't even say anything. And, this is definitely a different age. But I think I tried to shield my children as well. I remember a time when, my husband was very ill in the hospital, and I had to take care of everything, and I'm like pulling my hair out trying to make sure all the I's was dotted, the T's was crossed. I had to stay in the hospital with him, but I had to make sure they had food at home, and it was just it's just a lot. And but the only thing I can say is, but God, the grace of God, he gave me what I needed in order to, do and be there for them, and for my husband, and to make sure that, we did have. I remember being on the phone with the gas and electric people, and I cried on the phone with the woman, like, I don't know what to do. She said, I don't either. But next thing I know, she put in some kind of code where they thought I had somebody in my house on the life machine. Because I told her, I said, look.
Oh, yeah, I know that code.
I know that's right. Girl, that's favor. That's favor.
Oh, goodness. You do not know favor. Oh, my goodness. Oh, so amazing. Like, he sent that woman as an angel. And I was like, Miss, I just told her my life story. I'm like, look, I don't know I don't know what I'm going to do. And then when my husband came home from his third stem cell transplant, we got a FedEx letter from his job a week after he had been home saying that he was terminated. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, can they do this? Like most people, like, can they really terminate him because he's been sick? You
Wow.
know, like they ask you for all of the information for short term disability, long term disability. They have all the papers. They know what he's been through. You think they cared? They sent those papers so fast, and we were just like in a predicament. And I was like, what can I do? And I prayed. So when I tell you that I believe in prayer, it's more than just
Yeah,
me saying these
Mhm.
words because our God
Mhm.
is amazing. Our God is amazing.
absolutely.
So we have some comments, ladies. Rocky Brown says, "Hello, ladies."
Hey,
Um,
Rocky.
Maurice says, "Being as though men used to be joking, being a mama's boy. I'm proud to say I'm honored to be a mama's boy."
Oh.
So I just want to quickly comment on, and this is just a personal belief of mine, but the way someone treats their mother is
Yeah,
absolutely so important to me. I
yeah,
Mhm.
understand that that's a complex issue for some because, some people don't have the best experience with their mother, but
Mhm.
your mother and women, that says a lot.
it
So
does.
Absolutely.
mama's boy, yeah, I think we need to get away from that.
Well, I think you can have some mama boys that are respectful. Like my brother and I used to love to spoil our mother when she was living. So you know the phrase "give them their flowers while they're here." So
Yep.
Mhm.
we would go all out for her birthdays and holidays, and and she was just so tickled. She couldn't wait to get on the phone and tell my children brought me this, and so I think that my brother definitely is a mama's boy. I don't know what his opinion is, but I think he's a mama's boy. He was a mama's boy, and that's why it hurt us so much when God called her home because, man, it's nobody that can ever fill that void. So to this day, Saturday will make 10 years, and it still
Oh
seems like
wow.
yesterday. Still seems like yesterday, and it's it's a sore spot, and it's like nothing else. I mean, words can't even describe what I go through every Mother's Day. Trying to stay strong and have that smile on my face for my kids. But man, I'm hurting inside because I sure do miss my mama. It's
Yeah.
nothing.
I can't even I cannot even understand because I can say, Nicole, my mom is and my mom did not have a good representation of what it was to be a mom. And so to know what my mom grew up in and to know what she came from and to be such
Right.
and such a just I mean she will literally give and give and give at the expense of herself. And
Right.
I can't even imagine the day and then to see her as a grandmother. I mean, she still continues to do the same thing as a grandmother. And so I that's one of the things I love about you because I know that, my mom's spirit sounds very similar to your mom's spirit. And I
Mhm.
because it definitely gets passed upon in kids because you can see it in you and your brother. And I know my mom sees it in me and in, my sister,
Mhm.
my brothers. But yeah, my heart goes out to you because I dread that day.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to our comments before I before this goes a different direction. um, Tiffany Cole says, "Good evening, Queens. Good evening, Tiffany."
Hi,
Hey,
Tiffany.
Tiffany.
And then I jack up names, so please do not be offended. But I believe it's Latira.
It's Latira.
Latira. Okay.
Hi,
Hello, ladies.
Latira.
What's going
Tiffany.
on, Queen?
Yes. Hi. Thank you for tuning in. Sharia Young says, "Good evening, Taylor K and everyone." Hey, Sharia, that's one of my WBI members.
Hi,
Hey,
Sharia.
honey.
And then Maurice says, "I grew up in a single parent home with my mom and my dad. His dad was an alcoholic. He was a great father, but had an addiction. Mom held me down, even walked me to my football games from Lexington Terrace to Drew Hill in the cold. Sometimes I didn't even make wait to play. Oh, didn't make weight. Talking about the size, his size. Didn't make weight to play. I will never forget how much she supported me and my brother. My mother fed us, but didn't eat at times. Wow.
Wow.
That is a mother.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to read a quote about mothers right before we do our tribute to mothers. Tiffany Cole says, "Preach, Queen." So somebody was saying something. She was saying, "Preach, Queen." Joanne Page says, "Love you, ladies. Love you too, Mom."
Aww.
Can't wait
Hey,
for
hey, Miss Page.
right. Can't wait for
Look,
our next
Miss
outing.
Page. Yes, Miss Page. What's going on, Miss Page? Meet me at the car.
Lippy says, "We are AGR." Yes, we are. That is Awesome God Radio. We are. Tiffany Cole says, "Preach, Queen." And then Barbara Moore says, "Yes, Christina, we must tell them the truth with love before the world feeds them lies without their best interest at heart."
What? Yes, you better know it.
Yes. So it shows me that Siobhan, one of my WBI sisters, is tuned in. Tiffany Cole says, "I look to the hills from which cometh my help." Amen.
Yes.
We got
Yes,
we
honey.
Yeah.
My help coming from the Lord who made heaven and earth.
yes.
Yeah.
It says Sheila is tuned in. Hey Sheila. Tiffany Cole, "Mama boys love you." Oh, Tiffany Cole, she said, "Mama boys love you the best if he has bloomed into a full grown
How
man
about that?
who can
Yes.
separate them as mom and wife." There you go.
Yes. Come
There
on,
we go.
Tiffany.
Look,
Come
look,
on,
look at her,
Tiffany.
the two snaps for the
Yes, Tiffany. You better say it. Where my pearls at? Where my
um
pearls?
hey
Go ahead,
Jessica,
Tiff.
Rico. I see them tuned in. So back to our questions. So one question that I had, I'm
Look.
just ordered this game, right. I ordered this game from the red table.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
um
Lord.
so I couldn't read most of these questions. They're a little too personal, and I didn't want to get too personal. um
It's okay. If you hit me with a too personal, I'm gonna say pass. Pass the Pam.
that'll be on our late night talk show.
Ooh.
That's on Pam's radio station.
So this one just says, "When's the last time you felt lucky to be you?"
Every day. Every single day. I will say, like I said, so back to when I figured out about, I would say about 3 years ago, when I started to look as myself as a priority, I will say I started to really appreciate myself as a woman. And
Right.
and I would say on a daily basis, I remind myself, and there's something that always comes to my mind, like I wish I loved myself now then as much as I love myself now.
How about that? One of the reasons I started my nonprofit was because of, I would say, my lack of self-esteem back then. My family told me I was beautiful, but I didn't believe it. And see,
Yeah.
that's the difference. Like, we have to believe it. And so once I did, I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, she is."
Yeah.
But
Yes.
Yeah. And I've always said it's that, there's self-esteem, there's self-worth and everything. And I think that, you know, yeah, people can tell you all you want, but until you truly believe it, until you
That's right.
really feel it, um,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really feel it until I was about like 36, 37. I'm gonna be 40 this year, and everybody's like, oh, wait till you hit 40. I'm like, well, 40 is looking real good for me. I don't know about everybody else, but I am like in the best
Yes.
of my life. And I just, and it actually motivates me even more to get back to dealing with younger girls and to remind them of like what you're working
Mm-hmm.
in, and
Exactly.
just how beautiful, like, and when you love yourself, your decisions look completely different in
It
every
is.
aspect of your life.
What?
And that is
Yes,
why,
Chrissy.
that is the whole reason why I started my mentoring group. So I wanted, because I was bullied when I was in middle school, and I never told my mom.
That's because me and Pam weren't around, but I mean, that's,
I know that's right.
But the crazy thing is thinking back, like you said, hindsight 50/50. Like if you knew what you knew now. But so by the time I got to high school, I started to stand up for other people being bullied. And I started,
Mm.
I started modeling in high school, and that's when I started seeing the real beautiful me. And not only on the outside though, but on the inside also.
Mhm.
And I wanted to be able to bless other girls so that they could see their true beauty, the inner and the outer beauty. And so that is what made me start my mentoring group, was to just be able to give them that experience, that eye opener. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're walking with your eyes open, but they have blinders on them, until you can
Mm-hmm.
actually remove those blinders. And then not only do you see your beauty, but you see, wait a minute, I don't want to just be average school. I want to be better. So then that helped
Mm-hmm.
them with their grades. It helped
Yeah.
them with their appearance. Like it
Right.
started helping in multiple areas in their lives. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this. Well, now I want to do it even more. Um,
Yeah.
so what God just laid that on my heart. Like He's like, sometimes our testimony is what we need to in order for us to
Right.
be able to affect change in
Right.
others.
And and I will say, Nicole, when I because I've been doing advocacy work for so long, for the longest time I didn't feel quite comfortable with sharing like my story and who I was and the things that I had done early in life and all of those things, because I was like, well, that's my story. I own it. That's mine. I want to tell it when I want to tell it. But when I realized that my story, to me, and there was young girls that were looking to me that I was working with in the community, that were like, oh, you got it all together, you got this, you got that. And I was like, well, it didn't always look like this. It
Right.
definitely didn't. Like, it used to look real messy. And so I give my story to them, and I would do it individually. And so I think people have to realize like how to give your story in the best way. Some people like to give their story,
Mm-hmm.
like on like a venue like this. And some people like to give their story individually. But I
Mhm.
Right.
testimony will definitely bless others. And I think by figuring out like where you came from, everyone's got a story, where you started from, what your struggles were. If you can connect back to where that is, then you can bless people so they don't have to make the same mistakes and they don't have to go
Right.
through the same things that you have to go through.
Right.
And the thing that kept me going with my nonprofit, when it wasn't profitable, was the ones that I was helping. The
Right.
amount of young ladies that I was able to allow not to commit suicide, to change their trajectory, and now some of my young ladies, I just had a young lady on here. She's a chemist. She makes a cosmetic chemist. I have
Wow.
another young lady who started a business that's booming. She does waxing and some other things.
Mm.
But she has her master's, and like I look at the young ladies that I've been able to help, and I'm like, wow, thank you,
Right.
God. Thank you,
Right.
because I was able to help them to change that. Because one of them, so the one young lady I'm talking about who does waxes and things, every time we would go to take a picture, she would get in the back of the picture. And so once I started realizing, I would bring her to the front and say, "You have a place up here too."
That's
You
right.
know, we have to change
That's
the
right.
way that they think, and once you start to change the way that they think, and then they can look in that mirror and love themselves, then
Right.
man, that's
Yeah.
Right.
beyond the sky is the limit.
Right.
Beyond. So I just want to thank you, ladies, for coming on tonight.
You are welcome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
See, I wasn't
And
bad, was I?
no, and I just miss both your faces so much.
Oh, I
Um,
cannot wait for this
yes,
crazy.
I can't wait to go out and have a girls' night.
Yes, we need
Yeah.
one fast and in a hurry. Hopefully, we can still do it around the fire pit.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Absolutely.
listen, and
I
Lord
hope
knows,
it's
in
a
that
juicy.
talk, we had to talk juicy. We had to talk about love and romance. We had to talk about some good conversation.
Yes, and look, I won't. I promise not to lose my keys this time. You remember that?
I do.
Yes, I do. And Nicole, do you remember when Christina had us thinking that Jason was after us in the woods?
I mean, that's what happens when you got a white friend, you know?
Well, ladies, we're going to. I'm going to go.
Look, hey, Nicole.
To be continued.
Yes, we wouldn't trade you for nothing in the world.
I hope not.
I'm sure wouldn't. Maybe for your mother.
Oh, that's my
The,
girl.
the shorter version.
Oh my gosh, she does remind me so much of my mom. I did want to tell you that. Oh my goodness, she reminds me. I think that's why I
Oh,
her that day.
Nicole. She said, "Don't listen. Don't forget about me in the fire pit."
You will be there. You and Heather.
Right.
Can't forget about Heather either. So as we come to a close, we do have a tribute for moms that I would like to share. But before we share the tribute, um, I my phone does not want to act right, of course. But I do have a couple of flyers that I want to share with everyone, and then I'll close with a quote and our tribute. And the first flyer is, here we go. It's a book sale. So May Madness, we have Legacy Book Bar is having May Madness. It's a book sale all month, 15% off if you spend $30. The shop code is May Madness. 20% off if you spend $50. Shop code is Shop LBV. LegacyBookBar.com. Then Legacy Book Bar is having its book club meeting. Who would love to join a virtual book club? It's amazing. So Legacy Book Bar Book Club book of the month is Ember's Flame. And when I tell you this book is it's spicy, but
It's
it's good.
juicy.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
juicy.
Juicy is not the word. It's giving 50 Shades a run for its money, okay?
Okay.
Uh-uh.
Yes.
That's right up Pam's alley.
You know it.
Not
Your
me.
mama.
I'm a godly woman. Godly woman.
Your mama.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna buy it for her.
Oh, she's going to love. I'm telling you, I couldn't put the book down. My husband kept saying, every day I come home, you reading this book. I was like, yes, it's so good, and it has a sequel to it. So, Legacy Book.
Oh, Nicole. Nicole, you just nasty. But you can be because you married. That's right. That's your husband. Be nasty.
I see. I'm not even gonna blast you because
Mm,
I'm gonna leave that alone.
yeah,
Bless.
that's for show. That's for show number 2.
Right. That's for the after hours show, Pam. Behave, okay?
Oh, y'all dirty. Look at me.
I see you going with the wind.
Oh.
The book club meeting is May 23rd, 2020 from 12 to 3. It is virtual and you can visit the virtual book club right on its website www.legacybookbar.com. And last but not least is Women in Business International Happy Hour. Our
Hey.
yes, and I have a special announcement to make at the happy hour, so you want to be tuned in. The happy hour will be on May 15th at 7 p.m. and we have DJ Swank on the ones and twos.
Oh,
That
I thought it was happy hour now.
say that again.
We thought it was happy hour now.
Right. You see, you guys left me out. I'm the only one without a glass, but that's okay.
Well, girl, you slipping. You slipping in. You slipping.
But that's all right. I'll have it on May 15th at 7 o'clock. So y'all just come and join me. The happy hour is being sponsored by Borden Transportation, Shots by D. Nicole, and Slay by Day. And of course, Awesome God Radio, as well as DJ Swank. So come.
If she said ibit one more time. Ibit.
Jay Swank. So we are looking forward to everyone joining us for our happy hour.
That's right. Ibit.
So I wanted to read this quote. When I thought about moms, this quote really blessed me, and it says, "A hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spirit of overwhelming obstacles." By Christopher Reeve. So,
so beautiful.
a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spirit of overwhelming obstacles. So when I hear that, I think of a mother and a mother's love.
Oh.
So with that, without further ado, Jay, if we could start the video.
Please don't have me crying now.
Now I'm sorry that there's something wrong with the audio of the video, so we couldn't do the.
Are you combing your hair online?
Shut up.
Not ready. Okay. Aww.
Oh. Oh, my pumpkins.
All right, so that concluded our Mother's Day tribute, and it had Gerald Levert, "The Wind Beneath My Wings," but
I want to cry.
Yeah.
It was so.
I thank God because listen. My child would have had an ugly. I would have had an ugly cry. Like no.
Yes, and I was trying to figure out a way how to maybe play it on my end, but my phone acting a little crazy today, y'all. So, but we
That was beautiful, though.
Oh, thank you, and thank you, ladies, for joining Women in Business International Radio.
Yes, a shout
Thank you for
out to
having
the
us.
mothers.
That hour went by so fast, didn't it?
It did. This means we got to do it again.
Yes, I would love to have you guys come back, and maybe we'll even do a special edition after hours.
Oh,
Hey now.
oh, you know I love that. Yes, you know I love that raw, raunchy talk.
Pam, you're gonna have to come over for that one.
Now that would be nice to tape it.
I will for a night.
We tape it right in this room.
Right. So
coming with my spinning night bag.
to all my guests, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you all joining in tonight. Again, individually, we can do great things, but collectively, we can forever change the world by Nick Mosby. Thank you for tuning in to Women in Business International Radio. Make sure you check out our website at www.wbiradio.org. Have a good night, everyone, and don't forget to lock it here next Tuesday with Taylor K on Women in Business International Radio.
Wow.